Hi and welcome. In this video, we are going to learn how to identify orphan users and resolve them in always-on availability groups in SQL Server. What is an orphan user? SQL Server makes a database user orphan when it doesn't have a associated login. I mean to say, the security identifier of the login and the database user should be same. Even though the names, the login name and database username might differ, but the SID should be same. If SID is same, the user is no longer an orphan user. But if SID is different for both login and database user, then the database user is said to be a orphan user. In case of always on availability group, orphan users are one of the most common issues because we create a login and database user in primary replica, but most of the people forget to replicate the same or create a login in the secondary replica. Anyway, the database user will be replicated, but the associated login will not be replicated along with the database. We have to manually go and create the login and then associate it to the database user. I am not going to make it complex. We are just going to see or identify the orphan users. If login does not exist, we are going to create a login. If login exists and SID is mismatched, we just need to drop the login and create it with correct SID. At the end of this video, you will be able to answer the following questions. Okay, so let's start. Before discussing on always on configuration, let us see how orphan user is created in case of database backup and restore. See here I have two instances and I have a database in first instance demo. This database I have already taken a backup and restored in the second instance. Okay, so in the second instance I have my data copied along with the database users. Okay, but the logins are not transferred. Let us see the database users that are orphaned. Earlier we used to use sp underscore change underscore users underscore login report to identify the orphan users. It will give you the orphan users. Just change the database to demo and report. So these are the list of orphan users. Okay, these users doesn't have associated login in this particular instance. Okay, you can see here the logins does not exist. Okay, you, you may ask that the login and database name exists, but the security identifier is different. We are going to discuss that in later part of this video. sp underscore change underscore users underscore login stored procedure was used to identify and resolve users earlier in the earlier versions of SQL Server. But this procedure is depreciated and might be removed in the future versions. We have to use alter user statement instead of that. This is the following table which has an equivalent modern syntax for common sp change users underscore login stored procedure. On the left side you can see depreciated syntax. On the right side you can see the recommended replacement. To identify orphan users, use this script. You will get the list of orphan users in the demo database. If the database user doesn't have an associated login, just go here and create a login with this SID. The orphan user will be removed. If login exists but still the user is orphan, it means both the user and login have a different SID. So let's see here. I have login Satya and database user Satya. The name is same, but these two are differentiated in terms of SID. The SID is different and hence the user is orphan in the database demo. Now what I need to do? I need to map this login with the database user. For that I just need to use a command alter user command. Alter user Satya with login equal to Satya. And see, once I execute, the database user will take the SID of the login and the login will be removed. The orphan user will be removed. Okay, it's executed. Now you can see the orphan user is removed. And if you check the SID for database user and login, it will be same. And hence the orphan user is removed. The Satya database user is no longer an orphan user. It is mapped with the login Satya with the SID. Now the question arises, can we use this alter user statement in always on availability group databases? The answer depends. If it is a primary replica, yes, we can use, but the preferred long-term solution is to synchronize login with the identical SIDs across all replicas. But on the secondary replica, we cannot use alter user command because the database is in read-only state in the secondary. Even if you try to use alter user command, you will get the following error. Fail to update the database because database is read-only. Alter user with login cannot be executed on secondary replica because the database is read-only and no metadata level changes are allowed on the secondary replica. The primary use of alter user with login statement is when you want to remap a database user to a different login or with a login that is having a different SID on the current writable primary or a normal database. Let us see how it goes with always on availability group databases. So I don't have the availability group configuration right now, but let us assume this is my primary replica and this is my secondary replica. Okay, so I have these databases DB123. Okay, this is being added to secondary replica DB123. So connect to the secondary replica. This is my secondary replica and this is the primary replica. Query windows. So if I check the secondary replica orphan users list, I have total 5 orphan users. It means I have created the database user in the primary replica and these users are replicated as is to my secondary replica. But the logins are not transferred and hence the database users has become orphaned. Here I have total 5 orphan users. Let us take the first user as an example. In the login section, I don't have the associated login for this database user SQL 001. So we can straightly go ahead and create this login. Please remember, if you go ahead and create a login simply, still it will become an orphan because you need to map the database user with the security identifier. So when you create a login with the security identifier of the database user. And if you want the password of the login, just go to your primary server and script the login. Here is your login. Right click, script login as, create to, and copy to your clipboard. It will give you the login script. Here it will not give you the SID. Just take the SID from here, copy it and paste here. And execute. Now your login is created. You can refresh and you can see here you have your SQL 001 login. Now this SQL 001 login is no longer an orphan user. You can verify here. Now we have only 4 orphan users. The first one is removed. Now the second case. You have your database user and also your database login. Still the database user is orphan because security identifier of both login and database user differs. Let me show you this. This is for login and this is for database user. You can check the SIDs of both. It is different and hence the user is orphan. Even though name remains same, the SID differs, the user has become orphan. Now you need to map the database user with its login. The procedure is same. Here you just need to delete the login and recreate it. Otherwise, if you are not sure to which user or to which database is login belongs to, you can just rename it and keep it aside and create a new login. So for now, I am dropping this login and it will give you the dialog box. Deleting server logins does not delete the database users associated with the logins. To complete the process, delete the users in each database. And it may be necessary to first transfer the ownership of schemas to new users. Since the login doesn't have any dependents, it just deleted. Okay. Now you need to create a login with the security identifier of the database user. We can also make use of sp underscore help underscore rev login script, which is provided by Microsoft, in order to script out the logins along with the security identifier and password hash. If one or two logins, we can directly go to your primary server and we can script out. But in case of n number of logins, let's say 10 or 20 users, it is not feasible to script out each login. So we have sp underscore help underscore rev login script, sp underscore help underscore rev login, and it has created the login script for every login. Now I'm interested to take Satya login. Please remember this has to be taken from the primary server. Copy it, go to your secondary replica, you can see it will create a login along with the password hashed and the security identifier. Make sure you have the same security identifier at the secondary replica and primary replica for the same login. Okay, the login is created successfully. Now you can go ahead and check the list of orphan users. That's it. Now the second login is also removed from the orphan users list. We have some best practices. As a good DBA, you have to always script out logins with their SIDs before you add databases to an AG, or if you create a user in the primary, synchronize the login in all these secondary replicas. And please note that AGs do not replicate server level objects like logins, agent jobs, link servers, credentials, etc. Only database level objects will be replicated. And we have to use alter user with login command instead of depreciated sp change users login in case of writable primary. And I'll provide you all the scripts that are used in this video in the description. You can check it from there. I hope you have understood the video and now you are able to answer all these questions. If you have any queries, do let me know in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer your questions. So that's all in this video. Thank you for watching the video. We'll meet in our next video.